Hey guys, Veebat here with another V Plays, and as we're all aware that there is a deal going on this weekend, so I'm a little bit late to the game, but I have both of the planes that they're offering right now, and they're fairly rare. It's the BVP-203 and then the American P-82 Bravo. Now the P-82 Bravo is, this is the second time it's been available. It was only available for a couple of days around New Year's. It was meant to be an aircraft that was given away as an incentive for like a buddy program where you'd invite somebody to the game, and once they got the tier 8 you'd both get this plane. But it looks like they may have changed their mind and just released it anyway. So this was only available once before now, and who knows when it'll be available again. Now the BVP-203 was available through doing a special series of missions for an event, and then later has been available I think 2 more times for sale in the store, and this is just another such instance. So people have been asking me, and that's what you see kind of at the bottom here, is a couple of people were asking me which plane should I choose, because it does cost $54.85 US to pick up one of these, so it's a fairly expensive purchase being a tier 8. Now I don't have like solid numbers to back this up, but some of my teammates have indicated that the BVP-203 has consistently had higher returns than flying something like the XP-58, possibly because it's a special event plane and there's some type of like hidden bonus to it. I'm not sure if the same thing applies to the P-82 Bravo, however I have good luck with it. Now when people ask me which plane to pick up, I'm usually very hesitant, so I'm just going to give you as much detail as I can about the two aircrafts, that way you can make your own decision, and then we'll highlight some gameplay. So for the BVP-203, I pretty much compare this thing to being straight up a tier 8 version of the, where are you at? The ME-410. Mostly because of the gun configuration. The aircraft has similar type of a style. It's going to be more on the speed and altitude aspect than it would be on the maneuverability side of things. And when it comes to the firepower, it has that harmonica gun system I like to talk about, where you got a mix of 3 different calibers of guns. In this case, it's going to be a Mark 108 set of 30s, 20mm cannons, and then 2 7.62 machine guns. But on the BVP-203, obviously it's a tier 8, so you get those amped up quite a bit. So instead of the 108, you're going to get the 103s, which are going to be high velocity kind of sniper shells. And then you're going to get a plus up for the 15mm cannons, are actually pretty good accuracy and rate of fire, and the range is actually really good as well. And then some 13mm machine guns. You additionally get a tail gunner as well, a dual set of 13mm, pumping out a total of 128 damage per second with a pretty decent field of fire. Like I said, this aircraft is going to favor speed and altitude performance, so it's really good at being able to intercept bombers or intercept other heavies or light fighters at range with those very long range firing 30s. This does have a combo drive system similar to the XF-15C that I highlighted a couple of days ago, where it does have a propeller-driven system, but then this big round intake underneath is actually feeding a small jet engine in the back. So this thing technically has 4 engines and a combination drive system. It does have a very awkward-looking wing. I often compare it to looking like 2 sheets of plywood, kind of gorilla glued together to make this aircraft work. Originally, this was actually supposed to be a light bomber, but in-game we just treat it as a heavy since it has no air-to-ground ordnance. Now this is in sharp contrast to what we see when we look at the American option, which is going to be the P-82 Bravo. The P-82 Bravo twin Mustang actually existed. A lot of people didn't know this, but I think there was, might have been, I wanted to say 150, but I could have done my math, or I could have checked my facts earlier, but I think it was actually closer to 500. They built a bunch of these, and a total of several different variants as well. This variant actually existed as well, where it had this huge gun pod in the middle, being able to fit an additional 8 machine guns. So you're getting a total of 14 50 cal machine guns pumping out 728 damage per second. This is going to far exceed the damage performance of the BVP-203. We'll pull that up real quick just for contrast. There we go. This thing is 595. You know, obviously we don't have the same range with machine guns, but once you're able to get those on target, it just can delete a lot of bombers, especially since it can maintain sustained fire since the guns don't overheat that quickly. But you'll also see that it has a very robust air-to-ground ordnance. It has a total of 10 air-to-ground rockets and 2 500-pound bombs. I don't treat this like a heavy fighter. Sure, you could probably fit it out to be more like a heavy fighter, kind of amp up the airspeed and stuff like that, but really the altitude performance is very limited. The optimal altitude is only 6,500 feet compared to, I should have just left this up, the BVP being 8,202 with a service ceiling of nearly 15,000 compared to the 13,000 available on the Mustang. So I actually fly this aircraft a lot like a multi-role. I know I say that a lot in order to make aircraft work more effectively, but let's do a quick stat comparison to an XP-72. Now, I will grant you that I do have my twin Mustang specialized, so we do have a lot of good equipment on here, but with the configuration I have on my P-82 Bravo, let's do a quick side-by-side comparison if we were to fly this like an XP-72. First off, we get a massive bonus in the overall damage output. A little bit shorter range in the machine guns, but at that point it really doesn't care because you got a lot of firepower. The air-to-ground ordnance, we're going to be lacking just a little bit when it comes to the overall bomb performance, but the rocket performance is going to be nearly identical. Ignore the reloads. I do have the hardened pylons on here, which are going to give me a much faster reload. Once the 72 is specialized, it could feature the same. Survivability, obviously, as a heavy class aircraft, we do have much higher amount of hit points. We have higher fire resistance, but you know, damage resistance is still going to go to the XP-72. And then when it comes to airspeed, of course, we have a little bit of a leg up, but if we can go ahead and shuttle over here, you'll see that the BVP-203 far surpasses the P-82 Bravo, and a lot of that has to do with the air-to-ground ordnance, but why wouldn't I take it with a very good reload time of 120 seconds? That's right on par with a multi-role, so why not fly it like one? Now, as we go to the maneuverability, again, I have this thing kitted out for maneuverability, so for sake of argument, I'm actually going to remove these two components right here just so you can see that at base its maneuverability is going to be a 13.1, which is pretty much on par with the XP-72. My current XP-72 configuration, however, is actually going to be featuring a lightweight wing frame, so obviously the XP-72 is actually going to be 13.3 at base. So really, you're getting an even more maneuverable aircraft with the P-82 Bravo than you would get with the XP-72 at base. So with the configuration of putting on the ultimate lightweight wing frame and ultimate lightweight power unit, which you eventually will do because it's a premium and you're going to fly the wings off of it to get those credits for the next aircraft, once you're able to do that, you can get the turn time down below 12 seconds, which means you can outturn every heavy fighter that you encounter, and at tier 8, the amount of aircraft that are going to be highly maneuverable are going to start to fall off as those aircraft are going to start to favor more speed builds than they will maneuverability builds. So while you still will run into Spit 14s and you'll still run into Yak 15s, you have the ability to still get up to really good airspeeds, and you do have a devastating amount of firepower, which can absolutely shred a light fighter with those light machine guns. And I have oftentimes surprised many a Spitfire with this thing's overall fire capability. Again, flying it like a multi-role, we're not really forcing ourselves into those situations, but it can handle itself. Now, if we were to compare the altitude performance, we far exceed the altitude performance when it comes to the XP-72, and we still maintain a similar climb rate. So the P-82 Bravo, if we ignore the fact that it's a heavy platform and treat it as though it's a premium multi-role platform, it is going to far exceed that of one of the heaviest air-to-ground carrying multi-roles in the game at this tier, only with much higher output on the forward-firing guns, better maneuverability, better altitude performance, and really good airspeed. So really what it comes down to, guys, is do you want to fly a heavy or do you want to fly a multi-role? A lot of people love the twin Mustang. They love the idea of having 14 50 cal machine guns. If that's your bag and you know you're going to love this regardless of how it performs just because you want to have this plane, by all means go pick it up. But if you really like the ME410 and you're just looking for the best bang for your buck and the highest likelihood of success, I think the BVP-203 is going to be a better option. I haven't heard too many people complain about the BVP-203, but I have heard sporadic complaints about the P-82 Bravo, and it just depends on whether or not you're flying it based on your expectations or the aircraft's performance envelope. So this is going to be a bit of a longer video because I've obviously blathered on for a little bit. You can probably tune out here. You've got all the data you need, or if you want to stick around and see some gameplay, I'll throw in some highlights for you. So for those of you that are leaving early, I'll check you on the next one. For the rest of you, let's get into it. Hey guys, Veebat here, and we are starting off with a P-82 Bravo. Looks like the enemy actually has a P-82 Bravo as well as an attacker. And we have a Yak-15. Being that I'm a multi-role, I am going to go towards the most strategic site that does need things blown up on the ground. So here I am going after this command center. I do have the bombers and stuff accompanying me right now, which is perfect. I'm looking for... This is a different layout than I remember. We'll drop both bombs there and we're going to start focusing on killing aircraft. Let's see if we can get a good bead on one of these guys. Whoop. Get the maneuverability mod here. We do have somebody on our 6. We may need to drag him up. Let's get the guns on. Alright, I'll take you to the vertical. Let's do it. Oh, fortunately we didn't get a chance to shoot any planes down, but let's go ahead and start heading towards the middle. We still got our rockets left. Not a good showcase on the start here, but we're going to go for their command center. As I told you before, we don't have the best altitude performance, but we can push the envelope from time to time, which is why I'm reserving my boost cooler at this time. And just kind of tapping that boost, we're able to kind of keep it a little bit near 400. Usually 390 is a very, very comfortable speed for us. Looks like they picked up the airfield first, which means that our bombers are going there instead of the critical zone that they should be going to. But let's go ahead and see what we can do against this bomber. Oh, the heavy is kind of deceiving what our numbers are here, but... Whoa there, friend! I'll tell you, these bots nowadays... Really need to go over to their command center because that's going to be the zone that is going to see the heaviest fighting. That's the... Okay, I see you. I'm worried about you. There we go. That's the firepower we can pump out in a very short period of time. There is the attacker. Not quite sure what he's doing right now. Looks like he's distracted. Normally I wouldn't go after an aircraft like this. But we're able to maintain pretty good chase. Not only have we lit him on fire, but we took out his tail, or sorry, his engine. So we're going to slowly pull away from him. Looks like he burned... Well, he might not have burned out. No, he didn't burn out. Bombs are back. I see the P-82 Bravo up here. Willing to bet he doesn't have the turn times we have, so let's go ahead and unload. There we go. Really need to pick up that command center, though. It's a BVP and a Jawa. Unfortunately, this might be the end of us here. We were able to light the Jawa on fire. Let's go ahead and dip that nose. EVP is on our 6. Probably not going to survive this. We're going to do our best to stay out of that zone, and we got taken out. That's alright, though. We'll start over at the airfield and see if we can work our way over there. May end up having to come back and grab our command center now that I'm looking at it. Yeah, let's do that. We've got a bomber and 2 ground attackers over this site. Never mind, we have a bomber and 1 ground attacker, apparently. Yeah, we'll start here. Maybe we can get some vengeance on these guys. There we go. Once you get that good bead, liquidate these aircraft. There we go. That's the attacker again. Let's just stay away from him for right now. It looks like he's probably more concerned about other targets. I would like to assist my allies over here. We do have 2 bombs and a full complement of rockets. Looks like the radar dish is still up. So we're going to go and vector for a bombing run. As you see, we kind of got that small reticle, slight decline on the aircraft. Bombs away, and now we're going to assist with this P-51H.
The command centers are under our control. Communication with the headquarters established.
There we go. There's only one of you, and I'm double what you got. So let's go ahead and hit that cooler. Jawa's back. Ooh. Well, at least I know I'm not alone on this vector, it looks like. Oh. Oh, it would have been nice to get a Rocketeer there, but what you gonna do? Still got a few rockets left, and we definitely have some targets in front. We got away from the Jawa fairly easily. Lit them on fire, no surprise with the volume of 50 cals coming out of this thing. And since we're not actually a multi-role, the heavies tend to avoid us. So we can get on this aircraft. There we go. And picked up the zone. I see you, bomber. Get those guns on target. That stream of 50 cals just melting that heavy fighter, or that, excuse me, that bomber aircraft. There's the P-51. We don't have the altitude to play with him. See the 262 over here. We just don't have the altitude performance to really play. But if I can drag him down, that would be great. It looks like he's coming into my neck of the woods anyways. Oh.
Keep it up. Victory is almost ours. Air supremacy achieved.
Nice. Let's go ahead and start the reload. Oh, when you get the full cross section, that's how you do it. It's okay to go up and intercept bombers from time to time, but usually trying to climb up to those heavies is a mistake. But this game's pretty much over. I'm glad it's a quick one. Now we can get into the BVP-203. Brett, take us back to the hangar and we'll glance at the stats real quick. Now, this may be specialized and really kicked up to the nth degree in its overall capabilities. Fairly quick reload, 107 seconds for both the bombs and rockets because we did not go with ultimate gear, just advanced. Wish I could have showcased those 50 cals a little bit better, but what you gonna do? Yeah, and we didn't go with an ultra skilled pilot either. Usually I like to put a demo expert pilot on this because again it's a multi-role, but for discussion's sake I just wanted to keep it something that was relatively moderate in its overall skill load. This too, it's a little bit heavy on skills, but otherwise the only thing I have for the 203 crew is going to be a bunch of things with demo expert or really over the top on their overall skills. So we're going to go and hit it with a BVP-203 and a drastic difference in its overall flight characteristics. Let's go ahead and hit this up and fly the Tier 8 ME-410. Alright, so here we are in the BVP-203. We are up against a specialist NC-1070. I think I remember seeing Mishakal around, and if I recall, fairly competent player, so we'll see how this goes. I do not have the ability to impact ground targets, but I can affect going after like bombers and ground attackers, so maybe we'll be able to turn the tables a little bit in that way. I'm immediately going to be F2ing the mine because I want my team to put a lot of effort onto that. We will have some aircraft going towards the mine as well. I'm going to go ahead and hit that, and hopefully some multi-rolls are down there for some ground attack. If we can take out both of the enemy heavies and then a couple of ground targets, we should be all right. Usually the enemy comes straight over here with a couple of aircraft as well. Like I mentioned, we got their very long-range Mark 103, so if we can make those hit at range, we can get some good solid hits before we get totally on top of the aircraft. And that's kind of how this plane likes to fly. Very much a heavy hitter at range, and then finishes it off with a combination of guns at close range. Whoa! Hope that 210 doesn't hit us. And there we go. Like I said, aircraft are coming straight over here. We see a BVP-210 and an XP-75, which can definitely outmaneuver me. This guy's going for the rockets early. Whoop. Oh, looks like he's on our 6. Let's go ahead and get that engine restarted, get that nose down. We'll use that velocity to our advantage. Oh, that's my kid's timer for electronics. I'll set the timer, but it's alright. So we still got this XP-75 over this site we gotta take out. Like I said, we got this great airspeed available to us. We do have to find the nice bead. There's a big hit from the Mark 103s. And we secured the kill. Our bombers are over their mine. I'm going to start heading that way. As you can see, we're sustaining a much higher speed, and you can see the jet boosters kicking off from time to time. I do see a light turn fighter that seems to be relatively slow at this point. If I can get these big cannons to make contact... Oh, no joy there. We got a bit of a crit on him. And the tail gunner was shooting away there. Would like to intercept these bombers. Much higher altitude for us to operate in. I see the BVP is intercepting our bomber. Here's the big hit from the Mark 103s, and they just made contact again there. It looks like the 72 is back, but he is also on our bomber aircraft. And it looks like he picked him up in the zone, which is unfortunate. We are not going to be able to pick up their mine during this run, but we were able to get a good hit with those Mark 103s. And then finish off the heavily damaged aircraft. There's those good hits again, and the combination of fire allows us to be able to light a fire on that aircraft. Moving in on the enemy bomber, I do want to protect our military facility. See a ground attacker. I'm wondering where the Shakal is. Maintaining that good velocity, well over 400 miles an hour. There he is, actually, right down there. So we'll go for the bomber first before we sacrifice all of our altitude, because it's a lot harder to go up than it is to go down. Slowly closing on the target, trying to be a bit patient here. Looking for a couple of intercepting shots here. That was a good hit. We got a crit, but I don't know exactly on what. We're not getting indications here. Possibly took out a crew member. Maybe a gunner. There's an engine. Is he still down there, or is he destroyed? Looks like he was destroyed by Tobias.
Enemy objects damaged.
We're going to head for the middle because we are going to be on our way over to... Ooh, I want to get that bomber, though. I see you, Key 93, and you too have a very good sniper cannon on you. Ooh, impact. We took each other out. That's a little bit unfortunate. I was kind of banking on being able to get my guns to make contact there. He does have that big canoe underneath his aircraft carrying a 57mm with some pretty substantial range. I see the bomber and ground attacker making their way over to our mine. I would like to be able to go and influence those aircraft, because even though the enemy military facility is firing on our mine, I would like to be able to get some of the capture points back by killing the inbound enemy aircraft. Currently there's only a 265. I guess the bomber was already taken out. Or is it? No, the bomber should still be alive. He just was hidden in the clouds. So let's go ahead and be the best heavy we can be and climb up to altitude to engage the bomber that's hiding up here. At least I think he is. Where's he at? Am I deceived? Maybe deceived. There is a bomber inbound, though. This is only going to be the 288A. Same bomb payload as the C, though. There's that kill. The other bomber is coming back. Okay, so he must have been taken out by AA. And there is a multi-roll on his butt. Oh no, this is a bad sign. This is going to make it an inevitability for the enemy to pick up this site, though. So we need to hope that our team is able to pick up the enemy mine. I'm going to head over to the military facility. Yeah, we definitely are. We do have a ground attacker working their way over to the mine, though. I'm really hoping they'll be able to pick that up. If they can, we'll have a ghost of a chance. 2 ground attackers with a heavy defenders are probably going to be diving on them. I do see the Focke-Wulf here. That's a prime target. Focke-Wulf is on fire. He's not in the zone, so I'm not as concerned about him. There we go. Waiting for those guns to make contact. Man, it looks like they ended up picking up our mine, unfortunately, and they got both of these sites are launching on it. Really hoping to get an opportunity for our team to be able to pick up some of these other sites, but I guess they were too committed to fighting over the center. There we go. Now I'm finally connecting with the Mark 103s. They do take a minute to get used to. There's another hit. And unfortunately we weren't able to get a win, but we'll throw the good game up there. Like I said, solid player and a really good matchup for them with 2 mines and 2 military facilities. We were still able to get over 14,000 points. So like I said, it's a lot more consistent in its play. And I admittedly took a little bit of time to be able to link up with those Mark 103 cannons, but you can see the devastating hit potential once you're able to get back into a good groove with them. Coming off the machine guns, it was a little bit off kilter. Now, with that, you can see that we were able to make 242,000 credits in a single match. Granted, it was a really good result, but we're also going to pull up the results from the P-82, and the P-82 was only 11,000 personal points, and I pulled in 251,000. So, I don't know, I think the P-82 Bravo might have better earning potential, and it might be a combination of being able to hit ground targets as well as air targets. We did a total of, well, nearly 6,000 damage for aircraft and 10,000 for ground targets with the P-82 Bravo, but if we look at the... This is also a loss, that might be part of it. We were able to do 7,000 damage and kill a total of 12 aircraft, killing 4 bombers in the process, as well as taking out 3 multi-rolls and 3 heavies. We did die once, but we were able to get 300 capture points and kill 12 aircraft. Again, I think it's a very solid platform, but you really decide for yourself. Again, I might not have given the BVP-203 the justice it deserves. But what do you prefer? What do you like? I'd love to hear down in the comments just based on what I've shown so far. And If you did pick up one of these aircraft, are you enjoying it? Are you having trouble with it? Do you have a regret? Like, did you pick up the P-82 Bravo and wish you picked up the 203? Let us know. I'd love to see the discussions and see what people think. And I will correct myself now, because I'm sure somebody already typed the comment. It was actually 272 P-82s were produced, according to Wiki at least. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, I'll catch you on the next one.